Hey, I'm sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts and getting ready to go preach at 3:30, but I wanted to quickly post this devotional for today. This is day 7 in my 21 days of fasting and prayer. Our text today is James chapter 2, verses 7 through 12. It reads, "If you really keep the royal law found in Scripture, love your neighbor as yourself, you are doing good, you're doing right. But if you show favoritism, you sin and are convicted by the law's lawbreakers. Forever who keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at just one point is guilty of breaking all of it. For he who said do not commit adultery also said do not murder. If you do not commit adultery but do commit murder, you have become a lawbreaker. Speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom, because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful. Mercy triumphs over judgment." Now, what James is arguing for is that showing favoritism towards the wealthy is wrong, and it's wrong for two principal reasons. First, it contradicts God's regard for the poor, and second, it just doesn't make any sense. But now he adds a third objection to it. He says it violates God's law of love, and he quotes Leviticus 19:18. So in process, he challenges his readers' attitudes towards God's law, and the process demonstrates that possession of skewed ideas towards sin is not new. We're not the first generation to do that. We think we are without sin because we don't participate in or commit certain sins. We feel good about ourselves because we are not guilty of the immorality that tends to characterize our society today. But sin is sin when it comes to God, and if we are guilty of any sin, we are just as guilty as the next person. James makes this argument using the issue of his day in the church, which was that of showing favoritism. One was proud to boast of their holiness and righteousness because they were not adulterers or murderers, but they still discriminated against the poor in favor of the wealthy. And so in addressing this issue, James alludes to the teaching of Jesus. Matthew records that an expert in the law came to Jesus asking what was the greatest commandment. And instead of listing the 10 commandments, Jesus just said that two things summarize the whole law. Those things were, love the Lord your God and your neighbor as yourself. These two commandments are connected. If one loves God, they must love their neighbor. One can only love their neighbor if they love God. Therefore, showing favoritism violates the law of God. So loving our neighbor keeps us from showing favoritism, discrimination, and prejudice, but it does not equal acceptance of behavior that grieves the Spirit of God. We should be careful that we do not allow a permissive society to pervert the clear meaning of Scripture. We condemn that which violates the law of God, but we still demonstrate to the world that which distinguishes us from all others, the love of God. So today I want to encourage you, it's just like yesterday, be careful about showing favoritism. Instead, show the law of love. Demonstrate love. Have a great day. Bye.